Hey guys, well, I apologize. We had a little bit of technical difficulties. I am back on my YouTube channel live tonight, as well as being syndicated through Three Rivers Broadcasting and their Vimeo channel as well if you want to watch live. Guys, I apologize. Last week we kind of had to take things a little bit different route, mainly because YouTube banned me for a week. Apparently they don't like the truth, as we all know. I'm Matt Simmons. Welcome to No Filter on the Matt Simmons Show. Boy, do we have an amazing show for you guys this week. I don't know if we're going to be able to fit it all in the hour. However, I will tell you this much. We're going to do our best. As always, you know, I'm going to bring it to you real. I'm going to bring it to you raw, whether you like it or not. I'm going to trigger some of you. I'm going to piss some of you off, and a lot of you are going to agree with me, and I'm okay with all of that because, honestly, that's what I'm here to do. So, I have some... I'm kind of trying to figure out where we should start today. I mean, it's been quite the week, right? So we have, besides everything we have going on in the news, we have a ton of craziness with sports players. Once again, we have a ton of idiocy from the white-haired guy that supposedly is the president in the White House, but we all know, well, we can all guess that he's not the one calling the shots. And I have some personal experiences that I want to tell you about over the last few days that have been extremely, extremely interesting. However, first and foremost, I want to give a huge belated happy 4th of July to everyone out there. Hope you guys had an amazing 4th. I hope you celebrated this amazing country that we live in the right way, and that is honoring our flag, remembering what that flag stands for, and remembering that we live in the greatest country in the world. And the ones that don't believe that, honestly, have never been around or been to other countries to actually see what happens there and what they and how good they really have it here in this country. So excuse me. So we're going to be talking a lot about that. We're going to be talking about our wonderful president, Mr. Joe Biden. We're going to be talking about Trump because he held an amazing rally in St. Pete or Sarasota. I'm sorry. And we're going to be talking about sports in this country, and we're going to be talking about specifically soccer players, and we're going to be talking about other soccer players from other countries and other teams. We're going to be talking about some of these mayors. We're going to be talking about certain cities. We're going to be talking about a hurricane. We're going to be talking about some real estate stuff. We're going to be talking about Russia, right? Russia, right? No one wants to talk about Russia now that Trump's not in the White House, but we have Mr. Joe Biden there that's owned by Russia. So let's just dive right in here, guys. So if you haven't seen... If you haven't seen what's been going on with sports the last couple days, the women's soccer team, national soccer team, U.S. soccer team, excuse me, had a few players that seem to have turned their back on the flag and the individual playing the Star-Spangled Banner on his harmonica, which was 100-year-old. No, I'm sorry. I think he was 92 or 93. I shouldn't say 100. 92 or 93-year-old World War II veteran. And so there's been this whole uproar, obviously, over all this. And then the team comes out and says, no. They didn't turn their back to this gentleman or to the flag. They were simply just standing there while it was being played. Meanwhile, the rest of the team, now there was two individuals, all right? So it was just two of them. The rest of the team faced the flag, had their hand on their heart, etc. Were actually paying respect to the anthem and to the flag and to the gentleman who was playing the Star-Spangled Banner. But I have a question. Why are athletes so obsessed with disrespecting this country that they live in? Not only do they live in, but they are this country that they are being paid to represent. Let's be honest. These individuals are being paid to represent this country. And they are sitting here basically blatantly disrespecting this country, the flag, everything that this country stands for, the founding fathers, and every other citizen in it. And I understand, like, look, we all have, I mean, I'm able to do this and talk to you guys because of this country that I live in. The difference is I understand that and I respect that, and I don't take it for granted and disrespect it. I'm mind blown at the sheer ignorance going on right now with these professional sports players. And I guess it really comes down to, and I would love to get your guys' input. Put it in the comments. I would love. I am definitely confused into, like, wondering, is it just because these individuals are just not educated enough on it, or is it that they are just that rude and ignorant to it? Because, like, I get it. It's a different generation, right? These individuals right now, not all of them, but most of them, or a lot of them, are a different generation than a lot of us. I get that, and so that's why I ask, like, is it something that stems from, not being educated on it, right, or not understanding it? Because we all know that, and we've all learned over the past couple of years that the education system in this country is severely lacking and severely biased. And that leads me to think that maybe it starts there. Maybe it starts in our education system because excuse me, because of what they're being taught and continue to be pushed. I don't even want to say taught, indoctrinated. I have to be careful what I say because YouTube will censor me again, guys. And next time it'll be like 2 weeks or whatever it is. So I have to be careful. I don't want to spread misinformation, right? God forbid. It's craziness. But regardless, it's infuriating for people like me who actually appreciate and respect this country for what it is and the freedoms that we have, and like how so many people take advantage of that. It really starts to irritate me and rub me the wrong way when you have these entitled, immature morons, I'm going to call them, disrespecting the country that they live in and are getting paid to represent. Like, okay, fine. If you're not getting paid on a national level to represent this country in kicking a ball around or hitting a ball with a bat or throwing a ball, down the field or whatever it is, fine. You know what? Do whatever. But when you have these athletes that are supposed to be standing up there and representing the country as a whole, blatantly disrespecting the country, not only in front of the citizens of this country, but in front of every other country out there, it really pushes my buttons and really makes me mad. And it has to stop. Like, there has to be severe consequences, in my opinion, for this. And I think these organizations that run these sports need to hold these athletes accountable. The problem is we know that they never will. Right? Let's be real here. We know that they never will. And that's the sad part. And so what it's really going to come down to is it's going to come down to us as individuals and citizens holding them accountable by not watching the sports. Right? Because if we don't watch the sports, they don't get the viewerships. And if they don't get the viewers and the viewership that they need, they don't get the sponsors that they need. And if they don't get the sponsors that they need, they're not able to put on the events eventually. And that's really what it comes down to. Because I'm not okay with this, and I know so many of my fellow citizens aren't okay with it as well. And to me, and really that's the only way that we're going to be able to, in my opinion, change anything about the blatant disrespect going on. Because it has to stop. It has to stop at some point. Like, this whole Colin Kaepernick thing led into this whole freaking kneeling bullshit. Excuse my language. And then now people are turning their backs on the flags that are supposed to be representing this country as a whole. And it's just like, no, I don't want that person representing me because that's not how I feel. Right? Like, and that's really, I think, what irritates me the most is these people are supposed to be representing the country as a whole, but that's not how the country as a whole really truly feels. And that's why it needs to stop. Okay, guys, I have I have a fun story to tell you guys. It's I laugh at it. Some people might get pissed off. Some people might laugh at it as well. But so I was on my social media over the weekend, and this individual that I followed only because she's in real estate like I am, real estate investing like I am, and she posted happy 15 days on July 4th, right? She posts a screenshot or on her Instagram story that says happy 15 days after Juneteenth. And it really pissed me off, right? And if you don't know me, I'm extremely open and blunt on my social media, on my one social media page. It's for my politics. And I screen captured her, and then I called her out by adding her handle. And I said to her, I totally respect your Juneteenth celebration, and I do. I fully encourage that. However, since you seem to not want to celebrate this country's birth date, giving us the freedoms that we have, including the capitalism that you're able to take advantage of in your real estate investing careers, which has obviously built you a very nice life. Why don't you pack your bags? I will pay for your first class ticket out of here to whatever country you want to go to, and you don't have to come back. Yeah, I did. I really did. And it took about an hour for her to respond, but she didn't respond via text message. Okay. She didn't respond via Instagram. No, she goes and pulls my cell phone number, which is fine because it's public. It doesn't matter to me. I have it all over the place. But she responds to me in text message, and give me 1 sec because I want to pull this up, and I can't tell you, like, I'm gonna have to bleep out some words here because it's disgusting, some of the stuff that she said. But here, hold on a sec. I gotta find it. There it is. So she starts off with a text message that the word starts with a P and ends with a Y. There's 3 other letters in between there. Your grandfathers and grandmothers can celebrate the 4th all you want, you bleep sucker. Lick my bleep, you white dog. Bleep you and your feelings about what I think about the 4th bleep. Come swallow this bleep bleep. Right? Then she says, you bleeping cracker. Right? At this point, I'm cracking up, right? All I sent back to her was 2 laughing emojis, right? Because I am dying laughing at this point, right? I said, thank you for showing how classy you are and the fact that you're completely racist, right? Then she goes to call me. She goes, bleep, bleep, white boy. LMAO, poor bleep, white boy. Right? Okay. So triggered much? Like, wow. Holy freaking cow. Like, calm yourself down. Clearly, you what I'm saying is true because it's triggering you so bad that you had to go and find my cell phone number and then text me all this like disgusting, ignorant stuff coming from someone who's supposed to be a business person and show some class. Clearly not, right? And it was from a Philly number too, so No surprise there whatsoever. Yeah, I said it. Then not only so then after that, right? Then she after she blocks me on social media, then she unblocks me just to send me a couple more direct messages through my social media on Instagram. Then blocks me again, so I can't even respond, right? Which is fine, no big deal. I wasn't going to answer her anymore at that time. But then she gives my number to someone else, and this person says, I swear, I hate white people like you. I don't hate white people. I hate those who think like you and think y'all own this country. This is more my country than yours. Your ancestors came here and took it from the natives, then enforced free labor on the backs of my ancestors, all through thievery and murder. Yet here you stand willing to help me move out of the country I should be helping you move out of. You savage. Your president thought he was above the law, and so did all his white, hate-filled croons. I swear, I hope you and all like you burn in hell. People, this is the left. This is the and I don't care what color you are. I don't care if you're black, white, brown, green, yellow, blue. It doesn't matter. But the fact that you get so triggered and you are still playing a victim. Like, let's really think about this for a minute. Let's break it down, okay? I said my ancestors. So let's think about this. My ancestors didn't do that. My ancestors were forced and shoved into ovens in Nazi Germany and burned alive. That's what happened to my ancestors. So I'm not sure what they're talking about, saying my ancestors came here and murdered and this and that, whatever. No, my ancestors came here fleeing from being shoved into ovens and burned alive. That's what my ancestors fled. As far as my president, I'm assuming that they are referring to Trump. If you actually go and look, Trump is not racist one bit. In fact, Biden has said more racist comments in 1 year than Trump has in his whole life. Let's just be realistic here. But these people on the left are so ignorant. And let me preface this: when I say these people, I'm not being racist because I don't mean anything about race. I'm talking about the people on the left are so ignorant and refuse to do their own due diligence and research on the topic that they will take anything the mainstream media feeds them, including CNBC, CNN, MSNBC, all these left organizations, and believe it based on face value. That's the problem. They're lazy, and that leads into them playing the victim. Look, I could play the victim all day long too, just like you can. I could play the victim of, Jewish ancestors who got murdered and blah, blah, blah. You don't see me playing the victim? No. These are the same people too now that are probably suing to get their unemployment reinstated. Right? You heard about that one. It's mind-blowing the attitude that these people have. And what's crazy is that they can get away with this type of racist talk towards us because they're black. How is it okay for them to be racist? But if we were to say anything like that in reverse, we'd be. Could you imagine the response and the repercussions? The hypocrisy is mind blowing. It's absolutely mind blowing. I don't get it. Well, I do get it. I take it back. I do get it. It's because no one's held them accountable. I can be called a white cracker. I can be called all this kind of stuff, which leads me to my question. And this is what I sent back. I said, am I a wheat thin or am I a saltine? I'm truly curious. It's an important question that I need to know. I won't be able to sleep tonight if I don't have that question answered. Of course, there was no response because they didn't trigger me the way that they wanted to trigger me, in the way that they were triggered. Right? So of course they didn't respond. But this is how the left acts. They're disgusting, vile, racist, but they flip it all around so that it makes them feel, or it makes them look like they're not racist and the other party's racist. It's pure through and through narcissism. Sociopathic narcissism, right? You do exactly what you're accusing the other people of doing, but you accuse them of doing it so it makes you look innocent. It's the victim mentality. That's all it is, right? It's the victim mentality. Like, I can't tell you how many times growing up I was called racist names because I was Jewish. Like anti-Semitic slurs and all kinds of stuff, right? You don't see me playing a victim. Nope. And the best one, right? And I saw this earlier today, which is why I'm bringing it up, because it reminded me of it. Is the best one is when someone says to us, "You've never been judged based on your skin color. You just judge me based on my skin color. What are you talking about?" The problem is their logic and the way that they think won't let them actually understand that and wrap their head around it. It's absolutely astonishing what this country has turned into. Like, all right, so let's think about this. So I had someone ask me the other day, like, how do you feel knowing, or how can you celebrate the 4th of July knowing excuse me, that this country was founded by our founding fathers who owned slaves, by individuals that came and took over land owned by other people, land owned by, Native Americans, land, and killed them and murdered them and stole their land, whatever it might be, right? So it got me thinking a lot, and here's kind of where I come in at that, and I have to agree with a gentleman that was talking about the exact same thing that I follow on social media. His name's Garrett J. White, an amazing individual, extremely successful, Republican, and straight shooter just like me, right? But he was talking about it, and he was saying things like, look, that was a different time. This is how I feel, right? That was a different time. And during that time, certain things were okay. Now, those same things are not okay, which is why they are still not in practice, right? Just like in another 100 years, things that happen today are going to be looked at and deemed as not okay, just like that is. And they won't be practiced then. But it doesn't mean that everything that happened in that time is bad. It doesn't mean that they should be persecuted for living their life in a time where that was the accepted norm. I'm not making excuses for it. It was absolutely wrong. It was disgusting. It was a horrible thing to do. But in that time, it was the norm. Now let's talk about this country, and let's talk about people, settlers, and immigrants stealing the land away from Native Americans. Well, the people that did that were sick and tired of being oppressed by a government that was doing basically the same thing to them. So it was their way of getting their independence and taking and creating a life of their own, right? Because it was colonies at that point, right? And again, I'm not saying it's okay. It's not. But it is what happened, regardless. And because of that, it has created a country that provides us with freedoms that no other country does. Our Declaration of Independence has stood the test of time because of what it provides us. And all that's in there is good. That's why it stood the test of time. That's why our country is the greatest country on this planet. And so, look, let's be real here. Neither you nor I are perfect by any means. We have our dark side, right? We have our pasts. We have our demons, just like they did. So stop sitting here acting like you're the perfect specimen of a damn human being, but they weren't. You're not. You're a damn hypocrite is what you are. I'm a hypocrite. Everyone's a hypocrite. Let's be real. Let's be honest. But we have a lot of good too. Just like they did. Just like the Declaration of Independence was created. Just like our First Amendment, our Second Amendment, everything that gives us our freedoms and protects our freedoms and our liberties is to make sure that we don't go back to a time where those things were the norm. Don't you understand that? So how can you not celebrate that? How can you not be proud of that? How can you not stand behind that? Because like I said, no one's perfect. So stop acting like it. Look, we recognize that bad stuff happened. Right? We recognized that those things that happened are not good. Which is why we still don't partake in those practices, guys. But that doesn't mean we should do away with the national anthem. It doesn't mean that we should do away with the American flag. It doesn't mean that we should do away with teaching history. If anything, we need to double down on teaching history so that our kids understand what I'm saying right here. Is that yes, some of those things were very, very bad. But also, there was still a lot of good that came out of it. This country being it. Okay? So stop being a hypocrite. Because you and I both know. And those text messages just prove it that I was just reading off to you. We both know no one is perfect. We all have our demons. We all have our dark side. But we all have our light side as well. And we have our positives. And that, folks, that is what we need to keep a focus on and keep an eye on. Because that's the most important. Guys, we're going to step away here for a quick 60-second message from some of our sponsors, and I'll be right back. All right, guys, we are back. Thank you for tuning in. Once again, this is No Filter with Matt Simmons on The Matt Simmons Show. I appreciate it, guys. This has been a great show so far. And I hope what I'm talking about is really resonating, because I think it's something that we need to make sure that we are talking about more as we continue to move forward and as we continue to rebuild, in my opinion, this country. Give me one sec. We're going to have to come back live again. Okay, and we're back. Sorry about that, guys. Welcome back. Matt Simmons here with No Filtered on the Matt Simmons Show. We are having a great show, guys. I hope what I was talking about was resonating with you, and I hope that you guys understand what I'm saying, because it's really, really important that I think we continue to educate and raise awareness of this. I want to kind of go into something that, and I don't know if any of you saw it, but Trump, former President Trump, held a rally in Sarasota over the weekend on Friday. And I was actually supposed to be there, but I have to be down in Tampa on the 17th for Turning Point's Student Action Summit. I'm a special guest of theirs as a brand ambassador, so I will be down there. So I couldn't go to the rally. I wish I could have, but there was 40,000 people there that stood out in the rain all day long to get into that rally. And man, I'll tell you what, I love watching that guy speak because it fires you up to be an American and a true patriot of this country. And I loved it. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm willing to bet on it. The guy is running again in 2024 if he doesn't get back in the office somehow before then. Because it is, you can just see it. I think you can see it all over his face. His smile when he was being interviewed by Hannity, I think, said it all. But if you guys weren't able to see that speech, go take a listen to it. You can find it, I'm sure, online somewhere. I know a couple places already took it down. I think YouTube actually took it down too. But go take a listen to it. The guy it was awesome. But that leads me into talking about Mr. Joe Biden here. So I don't know if you guys saw, but a new poll released yesterday by the Convention of States Action in partnership with the Trafalgar Group surveyed 1,000 likely voters on a number of topics. One of them was whether Biden is fully executing the duties of his office. Has anybody seen this? It's good. It's really good. Because 56.5% of those 1,000 people polled do not believe that President Biden is fully executing the duties of his office. 36.4% believe he is directing all policy and agenda. 31.7% of Democrat voters do not believe that Biden is fully executing the duties of his office. 58.6% believe he is directing all policy and agenda. 83.6% of Republican voters, of course, don't believe he's fully executing. 11% believe he is directing. And then 58.4% of independent voters do not believe. 36.1% believe. Look, let's be real. The guy has never been the sharpest knife in the drawer. The guy's been in politics for 47 years, and the only thing he has ever accomplished is a racist law that imprisoned thousands upon thousands of African Americans for simple drug charges, etc., right? And let's be real, there's never been a serious situation or crisis where someone was like, wow, we really need Joe Biden here to get involved so we can figure out what to do. Biden's a mediocrity. He's basically coasted along through most of his career based on name recognition. That's it. And his big old grin that he has. Now, take him at 78 years old, right? And well, you're left with a pale imitation of mediocrity, basically, right? I mean, he didn't even run a real campaign in 2020, right? He wasn't mentally sharp enough to do it. He spent most of that time in his basement. It's why he doesn't spend a lot of time talking to the press. It's why he almost always cuts short his time in front of the press when he does. He's not mentally sharp enough to do it. And despite all of that, the time that he is in front of the camera, the number of gaffes that this guy makes is mind-blowing. I mean, let's be real here, guys. He is not sharp enough to do this job. Not at all. There's not an ounce of him that is sharp enough to do this job. I mean, the guy calls on a pre-approved list of reporters. We all know that. Especially during his Putin press conference. on a Saturday during a visit to Cherry Farm with Michigan's moronic and idiotic and tyrannical governor, stop mid-conversation to say that he didn't want to say anything to get him in trouble. You're the president of the United States. Are you going to go behind your closed door and then get spanked by someone? My guess is Kamala Harris is spanking you, right? She putting you over her knee and giving you a good old spanking. Like, seriously, people, what really? Are we real here? There's no way, with all of that in mind, that Biden is mentally capable of doing everything that we need a president of the United States to do. So undoubtedly, his department heads, staffers, the VP are making a lot of these policies, are calling a lot of these shots because he's not able to do it. And that's just the reality of it. It is. The problem with that is that puts this country in a very, very dangerous and precarious situation. When we have a so-called leader who isn't mentally sharp enough to actually do the duties of his job. Did you guys see the video of him in the convenience store? I'm assuming it was his trip during his trip to Michigan. A woman asked him, or a lady asked him about the latest ransomware attacks, right? And his response was a bunch of fumbling, right? Whatever. And then pulls out his notes.
The Hansons are going wherever the open road takes them, and no matter where they end up.
Pulls out his notes to read from because he couldn't even formulate an actual sentence. I wish I had this video pulled up because I would... let me see if I can find it for you real quick because it's too good to not watch. I mean, it's truly that bad. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, here it is. Yep. I think this is it. I'll put it on my screen here. Give me one sec here, guys. I mean, this is just too... It's just... The other thing... Because...
U.S. President Joe Biden on Saturday directed U.S. intelligence agencies to investigate a cyber attack that has affected hundreds of American businesses. The hackers who struck on Friday hijacked widely used tech management software from Miami-based supplier Kaseya. The hackers pushed a malicious update, which spread worldwide on Saturday and has quickly become one of the largest ransomware attacks in history. While on tour to promote a vaccination program, Biden was asked if the hack was linked to Russia.
First of all, we're not sure who it is for certain, number one. And what I did, I directed the full resources of the government to assist in a response. The fact is that I directed the intelligence community to give me a deep dive on what's happened, and I'll know better tomorrow. And if it is either with the knowledge of and or a consequence of Russia, then I told Putin we will respond.
Last month, the FBI blamed Russia-linked ransom.
I want to find the whole video for you guys because you guys have to see what happened before that. It was... I mean, literally, the guy stood there for like 10 seconds, dumbfounded, not knowing what to say. Let's see. Give me one sec here. I want to scroll through this to make sure, because this is really, really good. I mean, it just goes to show how mentally inept the guy truly is, and how he is declining even worse, in my opinion, every single day, because it's bad. I mean, it really, really is. Let me see if this is it here. Give me one sec here.
And for that, we turn to Fox News contributor Raymond Arroyo. Raymond, Biden had a pretty rough day today.
He did indeed, Jason. Again, the president's difficulty arranging his thoughts, even reading them from a prompter, remains a challenge.
Since it took office, our recovery has created an average $600,000. I wish they probably wish those 600,000 jobs paid $600,000 a year. But 600,000 jobs per month. This much is already clear. The last time the economy grew at this rate was in 1984, and Ronald Reagan was telling us it's morning in America. Well, it's getting close to afternoon here. The sun is coming out.
If the sun were coming out, Jason, it would be dawn, but I digress. The president is also fixated on this idea that July 4th is about going to ball games. He was practically stuck on this notion today. Listen.
Wish you all a happy 4th of July. We're going to be able to go to ball games. You're going to be able to sit in stadiums. We have all across America, people are going to ball games and doing good things.
I'm still trying to figure out what ball games have to do with an economic recovery. You were in Congress, Jason. Is this some leading indicator of economic prosperity, attendance at baseball games?
This is too good.
In Joe Biden's world, I have no idea what he thinks the metrics are.
I don't either.
Now, Biden, he did try to attempt to tell his own baseball story while the Dodgers were at the White House today.
Yeah, that was a bit of a strikeout, too. He tends to latch on to one idea or phrase and then he repeats it. As I said the other night, this is called perseveration. It's a medical term. It can be a sign of cognitive trouble.
Right.
And in case you need to notice the phrase, you know.
I hit one off the right center field wall, bounced off the wall. I think it's 368, or I don't know what it is exactly now, but off the wall. And I'm rounding, anyway, to make a long story short, it's, I wish, anyway. Look at these people. You're going to take this down, I know, in a minute, but hang on a second. Folks, but it's, sometimes, well, no, never. Right.
The other day, Biden was signing a bill, Jason, and he introduced Maxine Waters, though he didn't call her that.
Now, SRES 15. Speaker Pelosi, Maxine Waters, and Chewy Garcia. Oh, hey, Chewy, how are you, man?
Great to see you.
Senator, I hope. You think I'm kidding? I'm not.
Oh my God.
It would be better if he were kidding, Jason. Waters not running for California Senate. She's in her 80s. She'd be replacing Dianne Feinstein, who's in her late 80s. This would not exactly be ushering in the next generation of leadership.
Well, yeah. All right, I want to turn to the happiest place on earth, Disney World.
See if I can find this video real quick.
Trying to be more
Welcome, boy.
pretty entertaining.
How gaunt. I'm sure Maria, no reason to stop the presses. They eat about 445 calories a day.
That was some good video
I'm not shedding any tears over BMI fluctuation for this guy.
Good.
Forget it.
Yeah.
It just shows the cognitive decline this guy is having. And it's just going to get bad. It's just going to continue to get worse. If you guys get a few minutes, try to search online and find that video of him in the convenience store responding to the clerk's question about the ransomware attacks, because woohoo, boy, it's sad. I mean, literally, he stands there just blank faced, dumbfounded, until he pulls out his notes, and then starts reading from his notebook. So, guys, we're gonna get ready to wrap up here in a few minutes, but a few more things I want to talk about. And again, I have purposely not talked about COVID, coronavirus, variants, anything, because I know that YouTube will take the video down and ban me. So I'm going to keep moving past that. But let's end on I want to end on a high note, right? Because there's always good things that are happening in this country. And I think what I'm going to do from now on No Filtered is always end the show with a high note and with something positive going on. And one of the things that I want to talk about is a United States Army veteran paralyzed from the waist down, who stood for the national anthem and American flag raising on the 4th of July.
The Hansons are going wherever the open road, no matter where they...
I'm going to end the show by playing this for you guys, and then once it's done, I'm going to take us out and see you next week. But this, guys, truly is something that that is amazing. So the moment was captured in D.C. Was it in D.C.? Hold on a second. No, in Louisiana. Sorry. It was captured in Louisiana. So let me play this here for you guys. That's not inspiring, right? You have a guy that's paralyzed from the waist down, an Army veteran who's able to get himself to stand up on the 4th of July to raise an American flag. And for those of you that are just listening in and watching, it's truly something to behold. Go to my YouTube channel, watch this episode, and you'll see it. So with that said, I say to every single sports star out there, sports player that thinks it's okay to utilize that platform to disrespect this country, maybe it's time you either quit your job or you move out of this country that provides you with those freedoms. Because you clearly aren't thankful and aren't appreciative of what this country provides you, if that's the type of actions you're going to take on a national platform. Because what you don't realize, and I think this shows the maturity of so many of our veterans, because you ask a lot of veterans about that, and they'll sit there and they'll say, well, that's the great thing about this country. You know, the Constitution provides them those freedoms and those abilities to be able to do that. And yeah, that's absolutely true. 100% true. But what I'm going to say is I'm going to stand up for those veterans, because in the back of their mind, it has to make them mad to know that they went to war to fight to keep this country free for these entitled, spoiled people that get to play a sport for a living and get paid millions of dollars. I'm not talking about I'm not lumping all these players into one. I mean, you have some players that, some of these baseball players that were born in Venezuela or Cuba, they fully understand it. They fully get it, because they saw what communism was like. They saw what socialism was like. They see and they have firsthand experience to know what that does to you as an individual and to a country. And so being able to live in this country, being able to have the freedoms that they have here, they know what it means. They absolutely know what it means. So with that said, guys, I appreciate you tuning in. I love all of you. That was a great show. I do have a lot more that we wanted to cover and I want to talk about, but I'm going to roll it into next week's show because we have to wrap this up. And we're gonna have some great topics to talk about next week, guys. As always, 6 p.m. Eastern, Tuesdays, every Tuesday, No Filtered with Matt Simmons. Guys, I hope you have an amazing day, an amazing rest of your week, and I'll see you next week.